Hello everyone, welcome back to Plants vs. Zombies 1. We're now doing the fog levels, which are arguably the most boring sections of the game to do in an entire run, because on top of it being dark, so you have to apply the same strategies that you did beforehand. Now it's with the fog, which makes sight very limited. So yeah, once again, you're going to see me use a lot of cattails and stuff. The biggest challenge I had making this episode was that I had to restart some levels because the levels themselves weren't hard, but the 3 slots that are taken up by pre-selected plant seeds were plants that were never really ideal, nor did they go together well. So it was trying to balance what I needed. The necessary toolkit is always, especially in the dark, with the fog, it's lily pads, sunshroom, and puffshroom, which means already 3 plants get taken out. So it's just trying to find something to work with that. And cattails, again, they work because they just fuse with the lily pads anyway, which provides you, your upgraded attack system once you're past using puffshrooms. And yeah, you see me here using, 3 Peters because they were pre-selected, and I was like, why the hell not? And I'll generate some extra gold using the marigolds, but other than that, I didn't really have... I kind of just this time around used the plants to my disposal because, well, they were already pre-selected, and, it's a 3 Peter, it's a fume shroom, so why not? Scaredy shrooms I don't use too much outside of this one level because they're cheap, but they're glorified pea shooters. They attack long range, but they get scared and don't provide much use outside of that. Nothing that a pea shooter itself can accomplish other than being a cheap counter that still doesn't do much. I also forgot to implement squash, so I was a little annoyed with myself, and I thank God that it pre-selected the pumpkins because, yeah, they spammed the football guys in that episode. And yeah, once again, the cattails become useful because, like I mentioned last episode, the balloon guys also get affected by cattails. The cattails can attack them too, just like the cactus. So you don't even need to use the cactus. And once again, just to provide some extra revenue, I brought in the gold magnets that replaced the magnet shroom. Not the most useful. I call them DLC plants, but not the most useful of Dave's plants from the shop. They just, they collect gold, which is fine, but it's not too much more than what anyone could do with themselves and a finger. But, I still think they're more useful than the upgraded fume shrooms, because, well, I've already touched upon those in the previous one. But you're going to notice that pretty soon this episode, me using lanterns is about the same deal as me using grave busters when I completed the nighttime levels themselves. I kept forgetting to, or I just put other stuff in place of it. But yeah, no, we see a little bit of Hypno Shroom return, a little bit of Frost Shroom, which I would have liked to use more, but it's difficult to do when half the plant slots are already taken and, you're already struggling to figure out what to pick. I honestly don't know how I would have done this, especially with the predetermined plants, without using cattails. And I know I keep raving about cattails, but I actually have to rave about cattails because, Jesus fucking Christ, they make everything so much easier. But yeah, no, the dolphins are here. They're annoying, but it gets the job done putting lanterns in the water because it really helps. And hey, the zombies even get out of the water. They have a leaving animation if you use a Hypno Shroom. They don't just fade away, which I thought was also pretty cool, even though that's a neat detail that should have been expected in the game. And yeah, I found one plant this time around, which was the Aqua Shroom, I believe they're called. Basically the puff shrooms of the water. And yeah, so this time around we got the vase minigame, which I actually had to use a lawnmower for, which sucked, but it was whatever. And yeah, this time around I tried to pick decent plants to use, but also, as you can see, I'm definitely struggling because I forgot to select puff shrooms, which was not ideal at all. I just restarted the level. I gave up right away because potato mines couldn't carry me the way I wanted them to. Now, if you're wondering why I'm avoiding planting on the back line there, if you noticed at the beginning, there were miners now. So I had the brilliant idea of putting spikeweed at the back to speed up the process by which they die, while also using the dual pea shooters to deal with them when they come up anyway. And so yeah, it's a bit more of an expensive combo, but nothing we couldn't handle previously, and I forgot to put stuff in the water, so you saw me panicking for a second there using a puff shroom over anything else. Puff shroom are not that bad. They're arguably one of the most broken plants for their cost, which I wouldn't necessarily disagree with. But yeah, now I'm just replacing other stuff, and the miners have become like a thought of the past with how, quick they die to the setup I had. And yeah, sometimes I got overwhelmed and whatever, but I had to do that. And we moved on anyway. I apologize if I'm being a little less coherent than usual. I'm trying to figure out things to say, and I'm getting a little bit more analytical because I'm recording this one in closer duration to when I actually recorded the gameplay footage. So I have a bit more to say on like the gameplay aspect, more than just random crap that comes out of my mouth, but yeah, no, once again I forgot to put stuff in the water, so you see that again. And hey, once again I forget to use cattails. I was also trying to incorporate the starfish, because the starfish was, a pre-selected plant. It didn't help me too much, and there you see me using the doom shroom. I think I also restart this level, but maybe I don't, so yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, no, we couldn't handle, the buckets were, you can see me getting just frustrated. I wanted to do a little bit of diversity outside of just cattails all the time, but honestly, with having a third of the plants predetermined and they're rarely being useful, it made it difficult to really do anything else. But yeah, no, I'm going for 3 rows of sunshrooms now, just to provide extra money. And the cattails also really help with dealing with the miners, because they will attack the miners. So at that point I just kind of risked it and hoped it worked. But we also put a lot of sun drops down to hopefully deal with, some of the extra things on the side. Although I gotta admit, starfish are not really worth it. They're one of my least favorite plants in the game, because they have to be put in such a specific way to be useful, whereas other ones are just viable because they're simple, which might be, the same thing, but it also might not be. Wait, what am I saying? Sorry. It might be just because other plants are simple that, I support them. I guess you can make the argument that star drops require a higher skill cap, but for a game of this generation that was before the time of really debating skill caps all the time, I think it's fine to just kind of tune that out and just say that, yeah, starfish were not ideal. I think they're called star drops. Aren't they called star drops? I don't even remember. Star fruit, that's what they're called. Anyway, we also see a new zombie in this episode, so stay tuned for that. That comes pretty soon. And yeah, aside from that, you just got your cactus, your typical little lanterns, because they're only useful under certain conditions, which isn't the most pleasant thing. And oh yeah, it's the next episode. The next game. But yeah, I also found out a really nice creative little detail in this level, which I want to point out, and you'll see pretty soon, I think. Once I start getting 3 pages out there, it becomes pretty useful. Because I was thinking about it while I was playing, and I thought that they wouldn't have added it in, even though I thought it would have made sense, and it turns out that they did add it in, which was super cool. And as you can see right there, yeah, torchwood clears up a little bit of the fog, which I thought was a very unique detail to put in that I've talked about it before. I just appreciate the little extra details they put in. They really thought this through, and I can appreciate that. I really can. And yeah, I started using magnet shrooms to deal with the bucket zombies, because I already knew I wasn't going in with like a full deck, and given 3 Peters were once again pre-selected for me, I just kind of, yeah, and there's an epilepsy warning, so please take that with caution, because the next level is my least favorite level in the game. It's raining, so yeah, here we are. And yeah, as you can see, there's the Yeti zombie right there, so I slowed down the video a little bit just to make that happen. But yeah, no, this level is annoying itself when you're just playing it on normal speed, but to see it in 10 times speed, which it is, this is just a burden, because dear god, on top of being unable to see things, it literally is just this giant 2-minute epilepsy thing, which once again I apologize for, but it is what it is. Either way, we do end up beating it. It takes a while, and it feels like it takes ages, because you're not using the best plants in the game, and you can't really choose what you get, and you're kind of just waiting for it all to end, or at least I was. Maybe some people like this aspect of it, I don't know. This was not for me. This level is my least favorite level in the game. But, you know, props to them for trying something different, and I know I've already beaten this the first time around, so I can definitely say that my opinion hasn't changed, but yeah, I don't know, it just was not for me at all. But let me know what you guys think of this level in the comments below, and anyway, let me take over from here. See you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the fog done, and in all honesty, that was quite the exhausting task. We've been recording for an hour 45. We saw the Yeti zombie, who doesn't really do much. But yeah, that was even more boring than the nighttime because you could see even less on top of having to do the same pattern basically every round, which is just lovely. It's absolutely lovely. Nevertheless, that's gonna wrap up things here. Next time I do this, it'll be the rooftops, but I'm also recording this on November 21st. So, yeah, it's 6 p.m. This is probably going to get out to you like the 26th, maybe. I think. Pretty sure. And yeah. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I'm Azure, so like, comment, subscribe for more of this, more gaming vlogs, about what comes. I will see you all very, very soon. Later, guys.